So thinking of becoming a conveyancing assistant,
Mm-hmm.
well, you've come to the right place. We're going to do a deep dive into what this role is all about.
Okay.
We're going to be using some great insights from Indeed.com's UK article on interview questions for aspiring conveyancing assistants.
Excellent.
So we'll break down what the job entails,
Right.
the skills you'll need,
Yeah.
and we'll even give you a sneak peek at some common interview questions.
Perfect.
By the end, you'll be well equipped to tackle that interview with confidence.
The conveyancing assistant role is so important.
Yeah.
What's often overlooked is that conveyancing assistants are the backbone of any property transaction.
Right.
They ensure the legal transfer of property ownership goes off without a hitch.
Yeah.
Think of them as the guardians of those massive life-changing moments when someone buys or sells a home.
That's a great way to put it. And it actually reminds me of a story from the Indeed article.
Oh, yeah.
A conveyancing assistant actually caught an error in a property description right before closing. A single typo could have cost the buyer thousands.
Oh, gosh.
But because of this assistant's sharp-eyed disaster was averted.
Incredible.
It really shows how much impact this role has.
Absolutely. Attention to detail is critical.
Yes.
One time I was reviewing a contract and noticed a discrepancy in the easement rights.
Oh.
It was a seemingly small detail, but it could have led to major disputes down the line for the homeowner.
Wow.
We were able to flag it early and get it sorted, saving the client a lot of potential headaches.
That's a perfect example of why employers value attention to detail so highly in this field.
Absolutely.
Now, the Indeed article also mentions that legal knowledge is key for conveyancing assistance.
Right.
It makes sense you're dealing with property law day in and day out.
Exactly. You need to understand the ins and outs of property law,
Yeah.
from basic terminology to complex concepts.
Right.
Imagine you're working with a first-time buyer who's completely overwhelmed by the legal jargon.
Right.
You need to be able to break down complex concepts like
Yeah.
easements into plain English,
Right.
explaining how shared driveways or access rights could impact their property.
So it's not just about knowing the law. It's about being able to explain it to people who may not have a legal background.
Exactly.
That makes communication skills pretty important too, right?
Absolutely. Conveyancing assistants are constantly interacting with clients,
Yeah.
solicitors, estate agents,
Right.
and other parties involved in the transaction.
Yeah.
You need to be able to communicate effectively with everyone,
Right.
whether you're explaining a legal document to a nervous buyer
Yeah.
or negotiating a tight deadline with the solicitor.
It sounds like you need to be a master of many communication styles. Now, let's say you've got the skills and you're ready to land that dream conveyancing assistant job.
Okay.
What kind of questions can you expect in the interview?
Well, the Indeed article walks us through some common ones.
Okay.
One that stood out to me was, what about this position do you find the most appealing?
Audrey.
It's a seemingly simple question, but it can reveal a lot about a candidate's motivations
Right.
and whether they genuinely enjoy the work.
The sample answer in the article focuses on the opportunity to learn and apply property law knowledge.
Right.
But I imagine employers are also looking for someone who's passionate about helping people navigate this complex process.
Precisely. Buying or selling a property is a huge life event for most people,
Absolutely.
and they need someone they can trust to guide them through the legal maze.
Right.
Employers want to see that you understand the human side of this work
Yeah.
and that you're genuinely invested in helping clients achieve their property goals.
Another question that jumps out is, how do you handle a high-stakes situation?
Okay.
Again, property deals can be pretty intense with tight deadlines, complex legal issues,
Sure.
and sometimes difficult personalities.
Absolutely. That question is designed to assess your problem-solving skills and your ability to stay calm under pressure. The source suggests highlighting your ability to remain calm, communicate effectively with all parties involved,
Yeah.
and focus on finding solutions.
Let's dive into a question that really tests that practical knowledge.
Yeah.
Can you explain the title transfer process in a property sale?
Okay.
This one seems like it requires a solid understanding of the legal steps involved.
It certainly does. The source gives a brief overview, but let's break it down a bit further.
Okay.
Imagine you're working with a seller who's eager to complete the sale quickly.
Right.
You need to be able to walk them through each stage of the process.
Yeah.
From contract exchange to completion,
Okay.
explaining what happens at each step and what documents are needed.
Right.
You're essentially the project manager, ensuring everything moves smoothly and efficiently.
It's amazing how much work goes into something that we often take for granted, like buying or selling a house.
I know it's a lot.
But it's not all legal documents and deadlines, right?
Right.
There's a human element to this job, too.
Definitely. Remember, you're dealing with people's dreams and anxieties.
Right.
A question from the Indeed article that highlights this is, how would you handle an upset client?
And it's not just about calming them down, is it?
No,
It's about understanding their concerns and finding solutions.
absolutely.
The sample answer in the source emphasizes the importance of active listening, empathy, and professional communication.
Right.
It's about showing the client that you're on their side
Yeah,
and that you're committed to finding a resolution.
exactly. And that's what separates a good conveyancing assistant from a great one.
Yeah.
It's not just about knowing the law. It's about using that knowledge to provide exceptional client service
Yeah,
and make the process as smooth and stress-free as possible for everyone involved.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of conveyancing assistance. We've covered a lot of ground already,
Yeah,
from the essential skills to navigating tricky interview questions.
absolutely.
Now let's shift our focus to some of the more nuanced aspects of this profession, like ethical dilemmas and those exciting and urging trends we briefly mentioned earlier.
Indeed. The Indeed article hints at some of these ethical challenges with questions like, can you describe an instance where you had to deliver bad news to a client? How did you handle it?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
Delivering bad news is never easy,
Right.
especially when it involves something as important as a property transaction.
Yeah.
Did the article offer any guidance on how to approach such situations?
Interestingly, it doesn't provide a specific answer,
Yeah.
suggesting there's no one-size-fits-all approach.
I see.
I think it underscores that conveyancing isn't just about applying legal rules.
Right.
It's about understanding the human impact of those rules.
Right.
Let's say a survey reveals unexpected issues with a property that could significantly delay the sale.
Oh,
How you communicate that news to an anxious buyer while remaining professional and solution-oriented will make all the difference.
it makes me think about the broader ethical considerations that come into play beyond just delivering bad news. We talked about client confidentiality, but what other ethical principles guide this profession?
Well, conveyancers are bound by a strict code of conduct that emphasizes integrity, honesty, and always acting in the best interests of their clients.
Right.
They must also avoid conflicts of interest and maintain professional competence through continuous learning.
Of course.
Imagine a scenario where a conveyancing assistant discovers a potential conflict of interest.
Okay.
Perhaps a family member is involved in the transaction.
Oh.
Knowing when and how to disclose this information is crucial to maintaining ethical standards.
So it's not just about dotting the I's and crossing the T's legally, but also doing so with the utmost ethical consideration.
Precisely.
That brings us to those emerging trends we touched upon earlier.
Yeah.
What's on the horizon for this profession?
One major trend is the increasing adoption of technology,
Okay.
with digital platforms streamlining processes and enhancing communication between all parties.
Okay.
Imagine being able to share documents and updates securely in real time with clients, estate agents, and solicitors.
That would be great.
This shift towards digital conveyancing is only going to accelerate in the coming years.
So less paperwork and more digital collaboration. Does that mean future conveyancing assistants need to be tech savvy?
Absolutely. They need to be comfortable with technology and adaptable to new systems and ways of working.
Right.
But it's not just about using the technology.
Yeah.
It's about understanding how it impacts the conveyancing process, the potential benefits and risks, and the ethical considerations that come with increased digitalization.
Right.
For example, how do we ensure client data is protected in these digital platforms? These are questions that future conveyancing assistants will need to grapple with.
That's a great point. It seems like technology can be a powerful tool,
Yeah.
but it also brings new responsibilities.
It does.
What other trends are shaping the future of conveyancing?
Another significant trend is the growing complexity of property transactions themselves.
Okay.
We're seeing more intricate ownership structures,
Right.
a greater focus on environmental considerations, and the rise of new types of property like digital assets.
Hold on, digital assets,
Yeah.
like cryptocurrency and virtual real estate.
Exactly. As the world becomes increasingly digital, these new asset classes require specialized conveyancing expertise.
Wow.
Think about the legal challenges of transferring ownership of a virtual property in the metaverse.
That's interesting.
These are uncharted territories that will require conveyancing assistants to be adaptable and open to learning new things.
It sounds like conveyancing is a field that's constantly evolving to keep pace with the world around it.
Definitely.
So for a listener who's intrigued by this profession, what advice would you give them to stay ahead of the curve and thrive in this ever-changing field?
I'd say embrace continuous learning. Stay informed about industry trends, new technologies, and changes in legislation.
Oh.
Attend conferences, webinars, and workshops to expand your knowledge and connect with other professionals.
Right.
And never hesitate to ask questions and seek guidance from experienced mentors.
Those are excellent tips. And I would add that cultivating those essential soft skills,
Yeah.
communication, empathy,
Yeah.
problem solving, and adaptability
Right.
will set you apart in this competitive and ever-changing field.
Well said. And remember, conveyancing is ultimately about people.
Absolutely.
It's about helping them navigate one of the most significant transactions of their lives.
Yeah.
Approaching this profession with integrity, empathy, and a genuine desire to make a positive impact will make it incredibly rewarding.
Now that we've explored the technical and ethical dimensions of conveyancing and peeked into the future of this dynamic profession, wouldn't it be great to hear for those who are out there doing this work day in and day out?
I think so.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. In the previous parts, we explored the world of conveyancing assistance,
Yeah.
from the essential skills to navigating the ethical landscape
Right.
and the emerging trends.
Absolutely.
Now we'll hear from the people who live and breathe this work every day,
Oh, great.
conveyancing professionals themselves.
I love to hear real stories.
We reached out to a few of them, and they generously shared their experiences and insights. Hearing those real-world perspectives will be invaluable.
Yeah.
It's one thing to learn about conveyancing in theory, but quite another to hear from those in the trenches.
So true.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's start with Sarah, an experienced conveyancing assistant who shared a story about the importance of going beyond just the legal aspects of a transaction.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm all ears.
This is where those essential soft skills really come into play, wouldn't you say?
Surely.
Sarah was working on a particularly complex sale,
Okay.
and the buyer, understandably, was getting anxious about the delays.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Sarah could sense the tension rising in their emails and phone calls.
It's easy to imagine the stress mounting for the buyer.
Right.
Buying a home is such a significant event,
Yes.
and any hiccups can feel like major setbacks.
Exactly. So Sarah decided to go beyond the formal updates and legal jargon.
Okay.
She made a point of connecting with the buyer on a more personal level,
Okay.
asking about their family, their plans for the new home, and even sharing some of her own experiences as a first-time home buyer.
That's a great example of building rapport.
Yeah.
By showing empathy and genuine interest, Sarah was able to alleviate the buyer's anxieties and build trust.
And it made a huge difference. The buyer's anxiety visibly decreased, and they even sent Sarah a thank you note after the sale was completed, expressing gratitude for her patience and understanding.
That's great.
That speaks volumes. It shows that even in a process as technical as conveyancing, those human connections can have a profound impact.
Absolutely.
Now let's hear from David, a senior conveyancer, who offered some insightful advice for aspiring conveyancing assistants.
Okay.
He emphasized the importance of staying organized and developing efficient systems for managing a heavy workload.
Organization is crucial in any profession, but especially in conveyancing with its myriad documents,
Yeah.
deadlines, and parties involved.
David admitted that early in his career he struggled to keep up.
I can imagine.
He'd often find himself scrambling at the last minute, feeling overwhelmed and stressed.
That's a common experience, especially when you're starting out.
Right.
It takes time and practice to develop those organizational skills.
David realized he needed a system.
Yeah.
So he started implementing strategies like color-coded folders, setting reminders, and prioritizing tasks based on urgency and importance.
Those are excellent strategies. It's all about creating a structure that works for you and helps you stay on top of things.
Right.
I personally use a digital task management system where I can assign deadlines, color code projects, and even share tasks with colleagues.
It sounds like you found a system that works for you, and those organizational skills have paid off for David as well. He says they've been essential to his success in managing complex transactions, meeting deadlines, and providing excellent service to his clients.
It highlights that even seemingly basic skills like organization and time management can be game changers, especially in a fast-paced environment like conveyancing.
Now let's hear from Maria, a licensed conveyancer who shared her perspective on the importance of continuous learning.
Continuous learning is essential in any profession, but especially in a field like conveyancing, where laws, regulations, and technologies are constantly evolving.
Exactly. Maria emphasized that conveyancers need to stay updated on new legislation, case law, and industry best practices.
Right.
She makes a point of attending conferences, reading industry publications, and taking continuing education courses.
That proactive approach to learning is commendable.
Yes.
It shows a commitment to professional growth and a desire to provide the best possible service to clients.
Yeah.
I personally find joining online forums and discussion groups incredibly helpful.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great way to stay updated on emerging trends and share insights with colleagues.
That's a great tip.
Hmm.
Networking and connecting with other professionals can be so valuable.
Absolutely.
Marie also mentioned that she finds mentorship incredibly beneficial.
Oh, nice.
She regularly seeks guidance from more experienced conveyancers and is always eager to learn from their insights.
Mentorship can be so powerful. It's about having someone to bounce ideas off of, seek advice from, and learn from their experience.
Right.
It's something I highly encourage for anyone starting out in this field.
It seems like collaboration and knowledge sharing are integral to the conveyancing profession.
Yeah, I think so.
And it brings us to the end of our deep dive into this fascinating world. We've covered the essential skills, the ethical considerations, emerging trends, and heard from experienced professionals themselves.
It's been an enriching journey.
Yeah, it has.
We've seen that conveyancing is more than just paperwork and legalese.
Right.
It's about guiding people through one of the most significant transactions of their lives.
Yeah.
It requires not only a strong legal foundation, but also a commitment to ethical conduct,
Right.
a thirst for continuous learning,
Yes.
and a genuine desire to provide exceptional client service.
If you're considering a career in conveyancing, I hope this deep dive has given you a comprehensive overview of what to expect.
I think it has.
Remember, it's a field that offers both intellectual challenges and personal rewards.
And as we heard from Sarah, David, and Maria, it's a profession where you can truly make a difference in people's lives.
So for our listener, keep exploring, keep learning, and maybe one day you'll be sharing your conveyancing story on the deep dive. Until next time, stay curious.